Our next speaker is a very fun, interesting one. He's a philosopher for over 20 years now. He's been able to summon UFOs. His appearances at events around the world have drawn thousands of people who have witnessed this. This is a fun one. Since Tony and I have been doing this show, we get asked all the time, have you guys ever seen anything? Have you seen an alien or a spirit or a UFO even? And we always say no, nothing. This man has guaranteed me today's the day that will change. It's very exciting. Well, we'll see if it happens. He said, believe that it will happen, and it will happen. What's interesting is he says we can all do this on our own, that if you wanted to summon a UFO yourself, you could do it. You just need an open heart, an open mind, and a good intention. Then he focuses on an empty part of the sky, and he summons the UFOs, and they come. I can't wait to see this. Obviously, no one knows for sure really what it is, but if, in fact, he can summon them at will, then that's just another piece of the puzzle that something we can't explain is going on, and there just might be another intelligence up there. The last two DisclosureFests is right here in L.A. Robert was here, and he actually made UFOs appear in those two cases. If you can make the sun appear today first, that would help because it seems like it's a little overcast today. So if we get clear skies, I'm hoping he does the same for us. It's very exciting. Please welcome the UFO summoner, Mr. Robert Bingham.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Believe me, you're going to be very glad that you're here to listen to my stories and what I do. Stick around after this. I'll be summoning over there where that white tent is. And your whole outlook on life is going to change. And after you experience the UFOs, they'll be following you. So if you don't want to see them and don't want them following you, then don't look at them. Because it's like opening Pandora's box. Once I open it and expose you to the truth, it's like taking the red pill. You know, exactly like taking the red pill. And you get to see the truth and how deep the rabbit hole goes. As he was explaining and saying that we don't know who they are, actually, I do know who they are. When I came out and did my first event, I called myself the ambassador for the kingdom of the Most High. The media called me the summoner because when I opened up the event, I said, now I'm going to summon angels, so they called me the summoner. But actually, that's what they are. They're angels. And that's why this city is called the City of Angels. If you want to know the truth, the settlers came in here and they saw them in the skies. And the same things we're going to see today. And said they were angels. And so that's how come they gave this city the Los Angeles. And I'll tell you a little about myself. I was born and raised here. And Lincoln Heights down here a few miles. And so I'm an Angelino, and if you're not an Angelino, I'm going to have you baptized today. I'll tell you a little about myself, where I'm at right now, where I'm going, and where I've been. My whole thing is a quest. It's not a passion. It's not anything but a quest for humanity. My mission is to enlighten everybody with the truth, because we've been hoodwinked, sort of. When we were created, we had all these gifts to connect with God, simply and very simple. And to do these things, the only thing we haven't been taught that. It's been kept from us. I'm sure they were doing it back ages ago. But my quest is to bring it back. And when bad things happen around the globe, I want everybody to get on that this frequency. And we'll be able to stop it. You know, nuclear holocaust. There's a coalition of planets up there, about 7 of them. And they're there because they don't want us to blow up the planet. And that's the truth. So where I'm at is when we put out I'll tell you, just me alone, I'm able to stop typhoons, hurricanes, cyclones. I've stopped about 32 of them for FEMA because FEMA lets me know, but they won't tell you publicly, but I've done it. And that's just me. So imagine if we had 1 million people with that kind of power. The things that we could do. We could turn around Nibiru if it was headed our way and going to rock our planet and send us back to the Stone Age. We could stop that and put a protective shield around the Earth. And that's my quest. That is my quest. You know, that's a major quest. So where I've been is when I first came out and started doing this, you know, people thought, wow, you're just bringing balloons because they're orbs, you know? And a lot of people advised me, oh, don't go on YouTube because they're going to make fun of you and all this sort of thing, you know? But I'm on a mission. And I don't care what people think. I'm going to drill it in their head that this is real. So now if you go on television and look at the news, you'll see that people are filming things that look like orbs, white balloons. They're all over the place now. The Navy's filming them. So 7 or 8 years ago when I first came out, I've totally changed the perspective of people's thinking on what UFOs are. There's big ships out there, but you know, they don't come into the city because, you know, it might cause a major incident. So they send the little ones, and they do intelligent things. So you get to know that they're real. Well, I'll talk about a few things. I lived in this old home in Lincoln Heights, and I was on the second floor. And this is one of my first experiences to find out that, you know, that I had this gift. I lived in a small room at a Victorian home, and there was a bigger room that was going to be available. So I told this manager named Jaime, hey, let me see that room when it becomes available. And so he let me see it. And when I went in there was a Santa Ana wind blowing about 40 miles an hour. It's kind of spooky. It was evening. It was blowing real hard. And we had a balcony right there. And for some reason, Jaime said, oh, it's kind of spooky. And I said, yeah, we're going to see an alien tonight. And I didn't know why I said that. So when I walked back to my room, I said, man, why did you say that? So he called me over to look at the room. And he went on the balcony, and I was checking the closet space. And he doesn't speak English very well. And he's from Guatemala. And he says, Robert, there's an alien coming down the street. And I thought, oh, man, hey, stop fooling around with me. I'm trying to check my new room out, right? Oh, no, man, there's an alien coming down the street. So I walked to the balcony. At eye level coming down the street was like a 20-foot diamond-faceted black UFO that looked like kind of wormy, but it was all diamond facets, black. And it came right eye level, right past us. But the thing that I felt, that was the strangest thing that I discovered, is the 40-mile-an-hour wind did not affect it at all. It was like if it was on a monorail, the same speed. Nothing affected it. But when it got in front of me, it looked like a battleship gray, navy gray. And then it whipped around and went over the house, and it left. So the next day, I took my stepson, grandson, fishing, and he was only about this high. I said, Adrian, would you like to see a UFO? And he said, yeah, I'd like to see it. So I just stood there and summoned it, and one showed up. And I telepathically told it to move like a cursor on your computer when you go like this. And it went around the cloud and really fast, and it did all these things for him. And I said, wow. So from then on, I found out I had that ability, and I started doing those things. And I felt it was the most important thing, bigger than the Manhattan Project, and that I had to record it, and do everything I could to understand what was going on, because it was just fascinating, you know, and to me it was like bigger than the nuclear project. And so I didn't know anything about cameras, and I went and got a couple cameras and I started summoning them, and they would show up, and I would take as many pictures as I could, and they did fascinating things for me. One showed up that looked like the bell, you know, the German bell that they talk about. And it was all green because the metallic green, the metal had turned green, I guess, over the ages. But it was metallic green. And when I went on my computer, on the monitor, and I blew it up, when I blew it up the second time, when I hit the thing and it blew up the second time, there was a photograph of a terrestrial on it. And he had a long face, long neck, big eyes, and he looked like the hieroglyphs on the inside the Egyptian pyramids. You know, with the makeup on their eyes and they're like this or whatever. It was exactly like that. So I said, "Wow, they still exist. The Egyptians were terrestrials, you know." And that's what what came to my mind. And so when I got another picture of the same craft, and I blew it up twice. It had a Nazi symbol right there on it, the swastika. I have to say that because that's what happened. Anyway, that particular photos I still have. I haven't made them public yet. So things like that would happen, you know, and I took thousands and thousands of photos. One particular orb, he stood parked, or I won't say he, the orb stood parked in the same exact spot above my house for 2 weeks. Every time I'd come on, oh, he's still here. But I didn't want to go public with it because, you know, I didn't want people camping out in my front lawn and all that sort of thing. And I didn't want public exposure yet. I took photos of that orb, and on the photos, things came out. And one of the photos showed a married couple next to on the side of the orb, a bride and groom. On the other photo I took, one of the other photos I took, it showed me next to the orb, but it showed Jesus next to the orb, then a picture of my face with my glasses, and then a picture of my little Adrian next to me. And so, and those are the type of things that were happening back then. And I didn't, you know, I just knew that they were happening and I was recording it. So I went a long ways recording a lot of things, you know. I'll share this one particular thing. I decided to do an experiment. Said, you know, what kind of experiment can I do to interact with them? So I decided to buy a happy face balloon. And I wrote 3 wishes on the happy face balloon with a marker on the face. I wrote wish number 1, I would like a photo of the ultimate alternative fuel cell. Number 2, I said I would like a picture of the remodified human cell in order to defend us against all viruses and cancers. And number 3, I would like the next week's lotto numbers, only to carry out, only so I could have the money so I could be able to make that come to a reality, you know, for the resources. So as I let it go, and then a stainless steel orb came, but I already knew they knew what I wrote on there, but they were showing me that they're going to check it out. And they came next to the orb, the balloon, the happy face balloon. And the happy face balloon took off. I took pictures of that. But on this one particular photo, you got to remember I was using a Nikon, and the speed on the Nikon lens is pretty fast. And I took a photo of the stainless steel orb, which is like metallic, you know, really technological. And I seen something go by at an incredible speed. I said, I think I caught it. They gave it to me. And I went back and I looked at my camera screen, and they gave me the photo of the ultimate alternative fuel cell. And I did it again, and the same thing happened. Bam. So you got to imagine the speed of my camera, that, and them able to make such an object appear like that quick for me. I got the picture of the remodified human cell, which I shared with Stanton Friedman and shared with the government only because I didn't have, how could I make that happen, And so I gave it to them. I was told by a certain science group that there's 100 research labs working on that stuff. And anyway, if you look at my videos, I have a video called The Strand. And I took the video of the DNA strand that was removed from us by the Anunnaki, so we won't live 1,000 years. So we only get to a certain point, and finally, when you get wise, it's time to go because your body doesn't keep up with you. But the terrestrials gave me the DNA strand, and I posted it on YouTube, and it's there. Look at it. So that's, 3 things that I asked for from the terrestrials, and they gave it to me. The one that I'm working on now is called the formula. I want them to give me the formula so that people could quit addictions, whatever addiction they may have. And so that one I'll let you know when it comes. Hold on. Let me look at my notes. I used to do, I've done a number of summonings, and rainbows would show up during the day. And I'd film them. A lot of people would ask me what they are, and I'd say they're major ships. The only thing, they cloak themselves with a rainbow in order so people won't really actually know that's a ship. I had a group of people from MIT come to my job and ask me, or it was Caltech, if the rainbows were ships. They came to my job, and I told them absolutely, the mothership. And that's all they asked me, and they left. I did a television show for BBC of America, and I didn't know that the television show was it was a show called Weird Science. And I didn't know it was a show to make fun of people like me, But anyway, I was going to make them look silly, and I did. Actually, I brought in a triangle, a classic triangle over the MacArthur Park area. And the director, I told him that if they come in green, it's answering yes to you. And if it comes in red, if an orb comes in green, it's yes to your question. If it comes in red, it's no. So on film, he asked me to ask them if they were if they were going to make themselves known to the world soon. So I said, I'll do that, and we did that on film. And as soon as I said that, the green orb went by. And I said, there it goes, have your camera. He had 4 camera teams. And I told him to film it, and his jaw absolutely fell to the ground. He couldn't believe it. What? And I go, there they are. But we had camera teams around the park. They filmed it. So for what I'm trying to go with that is you can interact with them and ask them things, they will answer. I believe that like I said, when we were created, we were able to do a lot of things, but it was outlawed as witchcraft, and people died for doing things like that. But the knowledge was held by certain elite people throughout the ages, and so I'm bringing it back. There is a risk. There was a risk when I first started doing it. I was told by certain undercover people not to go public with this knowledge, and that it was on a need-to-know basis, and the public didn't need to know this. And I said, I think they absolutely do need to know this knowledge. And he said, well, Robert, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to go public with it. And the first day I went public, attempt on my life was made 2 hours after I left the park. And so there was a couple attempts. I'll tell you a story. I was a MTA driver. And so we would ride, I was doing the Wilshire line, and I came to the end of the line where another driver drives up in a car and he comes and takes over the bus, and I get in that car and I go back to the division. Well, that particular time, I had been doing a lot of stuff, and these two guys about 6'3", one black and one white, big guys, super guys, super soldiers, but they were wearing MTA uniforms, and I said, oh, these guys are federal of some sort. And they said, Robert, they said for you to come with us. I said, oh, shoot, okay. What kind of car did they come in? So we went to the car, and we got some pretty messed up cars because all the drivers eat and smoke, and they do all kinds of things. They're filthy cars, right? But we went up to a car with a radio, spotless, and so the driver was driving, and they were both driving, and we have a policy that you have to drive a certain route to get back to the division. You have to. If you don't, you get fired. If you deviate off that route. They were going totally off the route, but they weren't drivers. They just had uniforms, so they didn't know the policies. And they were on the freeway headed toward the federal building. And I said, because I wanted to test what knowledge they had of driving. I said, you know what I don't like about the guys that drive the 420 line? And they said, what? I said, they play too many effing games. And they both looked at me and said, and looked at each other, oh, we're getting them mad now. Huh? Oh, okay. I said, the division's that away. And they looked at me and telepathically told me, well, you know damn well you're not going to the division. So after I told them about that, they play too many games, effing games, there was a golden saucer in the middle of the freeway of traffic going this way and we're going that way, right eye level to the driver with a camera lens about this big, a black lens. It was golden. It was about a 4-foot diameter craft. The driver said, well, to his partner, you see it? And he goes, yeah. And they both looked at me. And I telepathically told them, well, you know what? You guys ain't the big guys on the block, man. You better be careful with me. And you could hear the fear come out of their voice. So they absolutely got off the freeway, took me back to the division, and let me off. And I just wanted to tell you that I do have some stories, true stories, all true stories. So in my experiences, I've experienced so many things. I've seen ships that are miles big miles, you know, wow. I've seen I wanted to show these people that were part of my girlfriend's family. And they were from Salvador at the time. And so I summoned a craft, and it was a B-2 bomber light, but it was didn't have no chemtrails. It was almost out of the atmosphere, and it was big. So I could imagine how really big it was, the miles, you know, but it looked just like a B-2 bomber. I estimate you could have put about 7 aircraft carriers on the wings, our biggest aircraft carriers. So I was able to see that. Let me jump to time travel. Time travel does exist, man. It does exist. And you can time travel in many different forms. You don't have to have a machine. You can astral travel. I was privileged enough to have experienced that. I didn't believe in past lives because I had a friend who was like, and she's a very, very paranormal person. And she used to tell me things, and I used to say, Eva, but you're not a realist. I'm a realist. But it sounded kind of weird because all the things that I would talk about, I would think, wow, man, I better. And I saw that I did hurt her feelings, so I said, Eva, look at, I'm gonna. She used to tell me I'm an old soul and I lived 1,000 times. And so I apologized and I headed to work. And I happened to, that particular morning, it was about 4 in the morning, I had to go to the Doheny Mansion, Greystone. And as I went up Greystone, I really felt that I lived in a past life there. I knew the mansion. I knew every aspect of it, and I flashed back to the 20s. So during the afternoon, my boss says, hey, Robert, go to the East Side Gate and tell the trucks what to do. When they stop coming, just sit there. So the trucks finished coming in, all the grip trucks, all that stuff. And I sat there and I went into this time travel. So here I'm at the east side of the gate. The mansion I haven't seen yet at the east side, but I could see the rooftop. It's about 150 yards away. I was there, I was 1924, but I'm not in my body. I'm just like seeing everything, and I'm going into William Doheny's body and looking through his eyes. So what I got was that I was William Doheny in that past life. And I was talking to my wife, Lucy, during that time, 1924, around that period. And there was no trees, no eucalyptus trees on the side of the mansion. Everything was in pristine condition. And it was beautiful, I just tripped out on rich people because she was obviously mad at me, our Doheny, but there was no words exchanged. No words, just mind games. She was just looking, and he was looking, and I go, wow, it's not like people where I grew up, man, a lot of drama. It was just real quiet. Go, rich people are kind of crazy that way, I guess. But I experienced that, and it was so amazing that I realized that time travel is there somewhere, and the terrestrials let me experience it. I hope I could do it more often. So for your, for you, it is real, So you can get there. During my work and research, I filmed. I took photos of the B-2, not the B-2, the U-2 bomber, not the U-2 spy plane. Excuse me. I've been able to. On 4 different occasions, I've took photos of the U-2. And there's only 12 in the inventory of the United States. Now, if I caught the U-2 4 different occasions, right? And they're not supposed to be seen. I don't think any civilian has photographed them. But I caught it 4 different occasions. So how many times was the U-2 over me when I'm doing my work? What are the United States, what are they doing? Obviously, they know I'm real. And U-2 is a spy plane that takes photographs. They have 32 different cameras that they can put in the belly, but not all of them at once, but whatever they're doing, they have different cameras. So if they're coming over me, and I caught it 4 times, then obviously the government knows that I'm real, and that what my research and work is they want to know what they want to record themselves everything that I do. So I made a video. I made a video to Sal, and it was called Summoning Techniques. And because of the 2 attempts by the elements within the U.S. government, the person that had it edited and professionally, he says, hey, Robert, why don't we just let it go free? And I thought, well, yeah, if I let it go free, everybody in the world would have an opportunity to learn, and then the government elements within the government will have no reason to silence me, because they would have to silence all those people that learned it. And so that's what I did. You might say that the government forced me to do that. And so that's how it went around the world. And the summoning techniques are pretty easy. It's simple. God is real simple, the Creator. You don't have to make it all complicated, you know. It's real simple. You just got to ask. So when you go out there and you look up straight in the sky and you go look deeply into the sky, you ask them to show up for you, and you want to understand who they are, what they are, and like anybody else, you want to get to know them. And that will happen. So we are really magnificent creations, and we have a lot of ability to do a lot of things. So my suggestion is go out there and meet them, you know, and get to know them. And things don't happen overnight. A lot of people might, you know, some people want to get from point A to point B like that without going through all the hard work. So my suggestion is that when you understand this, that you are a seedling, you're a small tree. And over a time period, you'll grow and grow as time goes on, and your understanding, and they will reveal a lot to you only when they feel it's time to reveal it to you. They can't do that right away, because it might hurt you psychologically. So it's like watering a plant. You know, you water it slowly and let it grow. So I will let you know that, you know, you can't rush this. You just got to experience it. And as time goes on, you would be going through your own journey. It might not even be particularly like my journey, you know, but you will go through that and become hopefully wiser and be able to change the world for the better. I'll share another story. I was downtown. We were doing, I think, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I work in the movie industry and as a security guard. And one particular time I was at this, they said, Robert, watch this street right here. And I looked to the right, and there was this bubble right here, about this right here. I said, wow. So I looked at the bubble, and it wasn't like a soap bubble. It was a perfect bubble. No suds at the bottom of it, no rainbow color, and perfect. It didn't wobble. It was so perfect, and it vibrated at a frequency. It vibrated all around it at this frequency. And it was looking at me, and I realized it was intelligence, and it was looking at me and letting me know, I'm watching you. And I said, whoa, man. And I wanted to touch it, but it just got out of high enough where I couldn't touch it. And I observed it, and then it took off. So we were doing some filming with one of these filmmakers named Grant and Jim, who's from Sony. And as we're filming, doing this filming, these bubbles were coming by. And I said, hey, guys, film that. And they looked at me like, I go, no, that's terrestrial stuff, man. Film it. And they kind of gave me this look. And they filmed it, but the bubbles didn't pop. And that's how you know. You got to be very focused and aware of what's around you. So I thought, wow, I made this discovery on the bubbles. But as I was going through George Adamski's old footage, I realized he filmed that with an 8mm many years before me. This bubble. So I have to give credit to him. But that's just one of the experiences that I went through. All I can say is that everything that you've seen in Hollywood is real. Um, I was given the privilege to film the reptilians, and I believe I'm the only one that ever filmed a reptilian. And if you go on my video lineup, you go to Wonton. My video channel is called UFO Robert Bingham on YouTube. And if you look at Wonton, you'll see that I filmed the dark side. And so the reptilians are real. I'm glad they let me film them. And I shared this story many times. I had one terrestrial visit me, and he visited me on Halloween. And my girlfriend and I, we would set it all up, for Halloween, make music and all that stuff, and make it spooky on the porch. And this one particular, these two kids came up to me, and one was a 12-year-old girl who didn't have a costume, and one was a little, what I would assume at first was a little boy. But he had the body of a gymnast, and he wore this magnificent outfit. And it had a upside-down triangle right here that was yellow and red. But his outfit glittered like the stars. It had blue and shine. You couldn't see any seams in it. And he had the most magnificent opal mask, and he didn't say a word. Not one word. He just looked at me like this. I don't know why I didn't film him, but I did give him about 4 bags of candy. And that little girl, although she was much bigger than him, he seemed to be in charge of her. And what a way to come to see me, on Halloween, without drawing any attention to themselves. I did a talk in Chula Vista, San Diego. There was about 250 people. It was a 2.5-hour PowerPoint lecture, and I realized that they were all Stephen Greer's fans. And I really don't, well, I won't say too much about him. But during that talk, somebody took a picture of me, and it showed. And if you go on my pictures and Facebook, if you friend me on Facebook, you'll see that my ethereal self was caught while I was giving the lecture next to me. He literally had my back, and somebody caught the picture of it. So all that stuff, quantum physics and everything is all real. We all probably know that. I'm just trying to help mankind piece the dots, put the dots together to get there. And I'm going to say a few things. Maybe nobody would like to hear this, but I don't care, really. The UFO community is the money-making apparatus that's controlled by so many people that write books and make all these claims. And they have no validity. They're not out here bringing UFOs like I am. They won't dare come do something like this because they can't. Never in their wildest dreams did they think that a person like me would come out here and do everything that they claim they do and not charge a penny. When they're charging so much money. And And if I don't make the mainstream UFO community, so what? I don't care. My mission is to enlighten people with the truth. And you can either believe it or not believe it. But that's why everybody's here seeking the truth. Everybody. And so I'm here to expose you to that and show you how you can do things that will change the planet for the better. Because, you know, when I'm gone, then you got to pick up the ball and carry on. There's a lot of people that paid with their lives throughout this thing called UFOlogy. They paid with their lives trying to show the public the truth out there. And so, you know, we have to thank them for giving up their lives. And you have to be a warrior, you know. You have to go out there and be brave enough to do it, because they'll try to scare you and make attempts on you, whatever you're doing. So you won't be doing that. And that's what they've done to me. But I am protected. And so, let me see. I just want to see how much time I got. How much time do I got? I got so much to share, you know. I'm just trying to. A lot of my greatest things that I've seen, I wasn't able to record on film, unfortunately. I was in the desert. I went to Contact in the desert, and every time I walk in there, all of them just say, "Oh, he's here, huh?" You know, yeah, I could see their face. And well, I left the Contact in the desert, and I was invited to a Professor Dean, who is an astronomer, and we were out in his back porch, and I did my magic, you know. At nighttime, I told them to throw a quasar, and they did twice. And then I noticed out there was an orange object in the sky, and there was a star. And the orange object started moving toward us. And this star, which I thought was a star, went around the ship like that, like a cursor around the ship, and then went back and assumed its position. It wasn't a star, but it sure looked like a star. And the ship went right over us, and I was not able to capture that on film. But the ship was as big as any building downtown, silent. And I can assure you that they don't make noise, these ships. That's Hollywood stuff. They don't make noise at all. It's completely silent. And I know what they use for. They have 4 different ways to get where they're going, and one of them is star power. They harness the energy of different stars with like rubber bands, and they sling themselves that direction, and they have super duper computers that can manipulate it to make it look like they're making a turn. But they're very precise, and that's one of the things is star power that they use. So I'll let you in on that. And if Stephen Greer and them guys come out with it, well, you know where it originally came from. But they have four systems, backup systems. And if you ever heard of stories of people saying that they show them happy face balloons, it was me. I did the first contact with a happy face balloon, and I can assure you I started that. So I admire some people out there in the UFO community. A couple of people that I admire is John Lear and Bob Lazar. But I don't admire too many of them. I'm sure they say the same thing about me. But I'm going to eventually do a nice documentary, and I'm going to finish a book, and just buy it. and it would have a lot of things. It'd be very truthful and interesting. So be over here at this white tent. I'm going to summon and show you that it's all real. I'm going to clear the sky. It was exactly like this last year. And people thought, oh, he says he's going to clear the sky, but I did. And I brought him in and everything, so it's all real. You can't do that, you know. It's just the only person is you that stops it from happening, because if you don't believe, it won't happen. You have to understand that you are the driver. Also, remember, go on my YouTube site. It's UFO Robert Bingham, or UFO robertbingham.org out there. And keep an eye out for the new things that I'm coming out with. I did last week I did I did a number of television shows. I did Japanese television shows, Italian, Russian, Canadian, and I'm probably not really out there in mainstream ufology, is because I do speak a lot of the truth about them, and so it is what it is, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that I said, and I wish I could express more, but I think I'm running out of time. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd like to have a Q&A. Can you, anybody have questions? I'll answer it to the best of my ability.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, I know that there's a lot of different extraterrestrial groups. So do you feel like you're from a particular place?
Well, people ask me about planets and stuff. I feel I'm from the Orion Belt, but I tell the people, I say, well, it's really not important what planet I'm from or where they're from. The important thing is to know the truth. People who claim to know all that knowledge, I would think they're hoodwinking you, you know. Yeah.
Hi, Robert. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your information. And last year, yes, we were here, and you did surprise me because I've never seen a UFO. And exactly what you're saying, it was like this. And I'm sure some of you, because you are nodding, we saw it for a good 8 minutes. And it was. And I have a question. I have someone that I know that has been visited quite often, and different beings. And she's even installed a camera in her room, and specifically in her room. She also has images in the sky and cloud formations constantly. And I think sometimes you can think that it's your imagination, like why is it still looking alien, like a lot of alien faces. And but she had a lot of images with even orbs, faces, little, beings, and all different kinds, good and bad. But she was so scared, though. I don't know what kind of a message, to give her some peace, or,
Well, I could tell you what Shakespeare said it best. The world is but a stage, and we're all bit part actresses. And it's like that Jim Carrey movie where the lights fall out of the sky. It's somewhat like that, everything is like that. It's quantum, but they're just people get visited, and I tell them they're probably correcting something that's wrong inside of you, that and a lot of times that's what it is. They're correcting, it's not your time to go, and so they're doing a little work on you. I particularly died one time. I was 17 years old, and I died, and I went to the other side, and I spoke to a man that looked like Jesus, and I was in a garden like this, There was people walking around, and I said, hey, he told me to shut up, and I said, man, I said, Jesus doesn't talk like that. And I didn't know I was talking, but then I stood silent and I listened to myself. I was saying, I want to go back. I want to go back. So I shut up, and he says, I'm going to talk to you. And I go, okay. He says, why do you want to go back? I said, man, I'm 17. I haven't really even had, I don't want to go back experience all that. He goes, why else do you want to go back? I go, well, my mom's going to find out I'm dead, and I don't want that to happen. And he looked at me like I was crazy to want to go back, because what it took to get there, all the pain I went through. And he says, well, if I send you back, Robert, you're going to have to go through all that trauma again. Do you want to go back? I said, yeah, I want to go back. So from talking to Jesus, I was inside this UFO, and they were working on me like a surgeon's table. And then I woke up in a bed in a hospital. My heart had stopped for somewhat like 40 minutes. So you might say that I'm still on the other side, part of me, and I'm on this side too. And that's probably one of the reasons why I have this ability to do what I do. And that my ethereal self, you could see in a photograph. But I'm sharing this only to tell you that there's a lot to this, it's a lot to everything. Yes.
Hi, I think you're wonderful. This is the first time I've ever heard of you and seen you and been to this kind of a thing. So this is kind of new for me, and talking about this kind of thing in public. Well, this year actually, this is kind of new. I've been visited in my house, in my room and stuff, and my question is, what do we say to other people who aren't coming to these kind of events and who haven't been visited, who might be thinking we're kind of crazy talking about these kinds of things, and who don't see ships? And also, what is your view about the New Earth thing? Because I've had visions of that too.
Well, when I first came public, I've made it easier for people to get together and talk about their experiences without seeming like, they're crazy. So it's changed the UFO world, and people can talk about it and talk about all of that. And, experiences like when they come at night to you, they come to me too also. And they freeze me and you can't even move, And but I look at it as, it's all in the grand scheme of things. And we're getting there. We're getting there, mankind is getting there. And we're getting to the new earth, which is the ascension process. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And all the things that the Bible said about war machines and everything being turned into plowshares, we're going to be an agricultural society. And all those things are going to be made into plowshares. Mm-hmm. Weapons of war. And but there might be a lot of people dying in the process, so we don't forget for some reason mankind has to learn the hard way. But we are going to get there. And we are going to live 1,000 years. That strand that I told you about, we're all going to live a healthy 1,000 years, and we're going to put the earth back in a pristine condition.
Yeah. But thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. You're welcome. Anybody have more questions? Because now's the time to ask me. Not a question? Well, thank you for giving me your ear, and subscribe to my channel and buy my book.